had a stroke at Southern Connecticut. Jim's pretty well known, maybe 11 months ago. Then he had to go in on Friday for open heart surgery, but he just ran back. He didn't. He didn't just pace himself. He didn't. We're hard headed as this. You and I are hard headed.
Yeah.
So yeah, just to share your thoughts. So you gotta understand that we're here for a purpose. We're all set when you are, Steph.
Okay. I'm sorry. Do I need to do the intros again because I can't remember?
We can if you like.
Okay.
If you like, sure.
Thank you, Reverend Pollard, for coming to meet with us and just talk about your experience surviving a heart attack.
Thanks for having me.
Were you receiving regular physicals and or checkups prior to your heart attack?
Yes, I was. I was receiving regular treatments and regular visits to the doctor for almost between 5 to 10 years before I had my heart attack. You know, so yes, I was in full compliance with what the doctors had advised or what they said to do. I just would do it down to the nth degree.
Okay. Do you remember what went through your mind while you were having a heart attack? Can you kind of take us through the experience?
Yes, you know, I didn't think of it as being a heart attack, even though I have worked in the medical field for a long time. I just thought I had just felt very tired and that this was not a heart attack. I didn't have the pain that they say that you have on your left arm and you know, radiating down your arm and all this. I didn't have any of that. I just didn't have it, and so that's why I didn't think it was a heart attack. Mm-hmm. I had taken a lot of courses in the medical field, so I knew what the symptoms were, and I didn't have the chest pain. Mm-hmm. Like they say, someone is standing on your chest and you feel like you know, you just can't breathe. None of that.
So can you tell us kind of what transpired, like how you knew that there was something wrong or where you actually needed to seek medical attention?
Yes, I knew there was something wrong because when my wife was driving me to work, I just felt very lethargic, and I felt as though I just wanted to sleep, and I should not have been feeling that way. Right. Because I had just really gotten up out of bed a couple hours before that time. I should not have been sleepy. And then I started, what really gave me some sort of a clue that maybe it could have been a heart attack. I started regurgitating, and I was just throwing up all the time. And I hadn't eaten a heavy breakfast. I usually eat a light breakfast. Mm-hmm. And I had taken my medication. I always take my aspirin first, and then the other medications that I had to take for my high blood pressure. And I take that very, you know, I take it with food, but not a whole bunch of food. A little bit of food and a drink of milk or juice, and that's it. Okay. So I just was amazed that this was going on.
Okay. And since the heart attack, has your lifestyle changed? You know, eating habits, exercise, and if so, what specific steps have you taken?
Okay, yeah, my lifestyle has changed, but you know, it's always in back of my mind that before I had the heart attack, I was living as though I needed to be very aware that this could happen. Mm-hmm. So my lifestyle really didn't change that much, except I was more cognizant of the idea that I had to take exercising. I had to take my medicine on time. I had to get some of the things out of my life that caused me stress, because that would elevate everything. Mm-hmm. And I said, no, I'm not going to go that way. And I was just very, very aware of my body. Up until this time, you know, all during high school and college, I've always been aware of my body. I wouldn't have never, ever abused my body. So I just, after the heart attack, I became more aware that this is what I must just continue to concentrate on.
Okay. And what advice would you give to community members for prevention or health, specifically, if you will, to men of color?
Yes, men of color are because statistically it says that black men especially are more prone to high blood pressure and some of the illnesses that other races do not encounter. I would say to men of color to that always be aware of your body. No one knows your body except you. Doctors can tell you how you ought to feel, but no one is inside of you except you. So you know what's going on. And be wise about yourself. Do not think that you're macho and I'll put this off until tomorrow. Tomorrow may not come for you. So therefore, you need to be very aware of what your body is telling you. Your body speaks to you. You got to listen to what your body is saying. It's not what you want to do, it's what your body is saying. So I would say to men of color, be very aware that you have a history that may include you being prone to certain illnesses, and to do something about it. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. If you don't do anything, nothing's going to happen. But time is not on our side. Especially when we have a family to take care of, we have loved ones, we have our wives, we have our children. We want to see them grow up. We want to see them graduate from high school, college, and whatever. We won't be doing that if you don't take care of yourself, because it begins with you.
So if you can, maybe talk to us about, again, advice to community members, particularly men's health, about being proactive with your health, checkups and paying really close attention, and, the benefits that you reap from taking care of yourself.
Yes, like I want to reiterate about the benefits. Like I said before, if you don't take care of yourself and you want to see your children grow, you want to see your family to survive, and so therefore you need to do the things that will enhance that. You have to be very proactive about your health. Never mind about I'm going to quit smoking tomorrow. Quit smoking now. Never mind about I don't want to go to the doctor because I don't want to have that finger wave. Have it done now, because a little bit of pain that you won't go through any pain when you have that finger wave, but it is very diagnostic, and the whole thing is that you need not think so highly of yourself, and to think that the doctor is going to invade your privacy to the extent that you don't want to have this done for whatever reason you have. Think less of yourself and more of what you have to accomplish in life and those who are depending on you. So if we have to go through a little uncomfortable situation, just do it. Just do it, because there's a greater good. There is a greater good. Outside supervising one day, and I just felt very, very dizzy, and and so much so till I had to hold on to something and say, wow, this is not me. What's going on here? And so I told my wife when I got home, I said, I really need to see what's going on, because this never happened to me before. So therefore, I made an appointment with the doctor. That was in 1980 something, and I've been going to him ever since.
Kind of. So let's replay that posing question. And yes.
You spoke earlier about having, you were talking about taking your medications, and
right.
you do that, faithfully with food or however have you.
Yes.
You mentioned also taking medicine for hypertension.
Yes.
Can you kind of talk to us about how that came about? Because it sounds like that came about long before the heart attack.
Yes, it did. It came long before. I was supervising on one of my assignments at Pfizer one day, and I was outside supervising, and I felt very, very dizzy, so much so till I had to walk around and hold on to a tank that was there. I said, wow, this is something that is new with me. I shouldn't feel, why am I feeling like this, So much, it really scared me, because I never felt dizzy in my life. And I said, well, when I get home, I'm going to take care of this situation. So I made an appointment with the doctor, and then he said, well, you have to be on, my blood pressure was sky high. I think it was 175 over 90 or something. That is really really very high. And then I was much, much younger. It should not have been that high. Should not have been that high. And at that age, I wasn't stressed out about anything, I don't think, but it's just, I don't think, but I could have been. But it just told me that I need to do something about it. I need to, because at that time my kids were very young, and I always was aware that I would see my kids graduate from high school and college. And I said, well, I won't be seeing this if you don't take care of yourself.
If you would, can you share with us what you recall about the ambulance ride once you had contacted 911 when they came? Can you share with us your recollection of the ambulance ride?
Yes, ambulance ride. What I remember of it, it was apparently a short ambulance ride, but in the interim, I had lost my pulse. Apparently, I had died in the ambulance, and then I heard the EMT says, "Well, we need to, use a defibrillator," and then I was just, I just don't remember anything. I had no anxiety. I had no anxiety. I had no fear. A lot of people ask me that. The only thing I remember was experiencing just peace, just complete peace and calm, and that's a wonderful thing. But knowing in back of my mind, my wife, who is a woman of great faith, she called up everybody. All of the pastors were there. I think your mom was there. So when the ambulance arrived at Lawrence Hospital, we had praying clergy. It must be around 10 or 15 clergy just praying as I left the ambulance, and I knew everything was in God's hands, and that's a wonderful feeling. Prayer changes things, and someone asked me before, well, what do you think happened? Why do you think that this transpired? I said, because God is an awesome God. Because like I said, prayer changes things, and we have people of faith. And when you have lived your life as though it was your last day, then it's okay with you, and it's okay with God. So whatever happens, happens. And I was okay with that. And so if someone had taken my blood pressure then, they would say, well, he's calm. Wow, his elevator is not, BP is not elevated. No, it's not elevated, because I'm okay with me. And that's a wonderful feeling. I just thank God for a praying wife, and who saw the necessity of not thinking about it being a robbery to ask someone to come and pray for my husband. He's getting ready to go in an ambulance, and he's not in a good state right now, so come and pray. And she thought less of herself, didn't think about what people thought about her asking. She did what she had to do, and I received it. God received it, and he worked through the EMTs to do what they had to do to make this happen. Because when I remember when I entered the hospital after I was fibrillated, the doctor came and says that this does not look good. We've got to have continual EKGs, continually EKGs. And they took one EKG when I left the ambulance, and he says, well, that looks a little better. And so, but we're still not out of the woods. But see, it looked better for God, because God knew it would be all right.
So it dawned on me while you were sharing your story that a story about two friends of mine. One had just recently turned 38. This is at the end of 2010. 38? 38 years old. And 10 days after his birthday, he died, having suffered a massive heart attack. He didn't have health insurance, and so there were certain conditions, like he didn't realize, he was on blood pressure medicine, but he was unaware that he had diabetes. And apparently, he hadn't been feeling well for a couple days, and was just like, I don't want to go to the hospital because I don't have insurance. And this last day, he just absolutely was not well. And from what I understand, as he was kind of like getting up, and when they got him into the hospital, he started throwing up a lot, much like what you were saying. And from what my mother was there through the good chunk of it. I was actually homesick that day, and she called and said that, you know, his sugar was through the roof. Like, I could be misquoting, but I believe she said it was like over 700, which is obviously
too high,
way in the danger zone.
Yes.
And she called me a little bit later, crying hysterically, saying, "Donut just died." And I was just, you know, it's kind of one of those things where like, I couldn't have heard you right. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
And so she told me the kid passed away, and it was devastating. Here's this person a couple years younger than me, and we're 2 days away from a new year, and he's gone.
Yes.
So, you know, about a week or so later, you know, we had a memorial service for him, and that following February, one of his cousins actually attended an event that the African American Health Council did at the Radisson Hotel, and you know, he had mentioned that his family was going to come. We had free massages, free health screenings, there was exercising, you know, stuff to do for the whole family. And they had just gotten home, and I called to say, hey, you know, I forgot about the event. And so he said, oh, we just got home. And I said, come on, it's free everything. Just come, you know, be part of it. And so his wife and I actually got our blood screenings together while he and his son got the, you know, little chair massage. And then I asked him, did he want to do the health screening? He's like, no, you know, I'm fine. And so I said, come on, it's a free health screening. What are you going to do? I know you don't go to the doctor anyway. And so we sat down, and he's, you know, talking to the nurse, and she takes his blood pressure and his cholesterol and sugar. And about maybe 10 minutes later, I see him still talking, but there's this different look on his face. His sugar was over 300. And his wife also has diabetes, so that was very disturbing for him to kind of have this revelation. And
he didn't know about it before?
Had no idea. And so the nurse was asking him, well, you know, have you been having this symptom, that symptom? And he was like, well, you know, there's a little bit more of like frequent urination, but I drink a lot of water. So, you know, he's kind of like, you know, finding reasons for all these different symptoms. And so the next day, after church, he was not feeling well. And his wife took him to the emergency room, and he actually had to be admitted. And he was there for about 3 to 4 days. They told him he has type 2 diabetes, and that probably for a minimum of the previous 3 to 6 months, his blood sugar, based on whatever testing they did, was running around 300. And so he called me and just said, thank you, thank you, thank you. He said, because I just would have gone home and just tried to sleep it off.
Yeah.
He said, I had, you know, no idea, and this could have saved my life. Like, going to this event, like you calling me and texting us and reminding me to show up is the reason that I'm, you know, not in the hospital, but I'm getting treatment. And the reason that I could, you know, potentially be here for my family. You know, he's got 2 kids, one's in middle school, one's in elementary school. He said, so thank you, because this program, excuse me, that you did helped save my life. Because, you know, we had just buried, literally, like within the previous 4 to 5 weeks, his cousin. And so I guess that's another reason what prompted me to ask you about your advice for men of color regarding being proactive about their health, because we had this one tragic loss, and we very easily could have had 2 back to back.
Amen. Amen. One thing I want to reiterate what I said before. We want to be here to take care of business. We want to take care of our children, our wives, and what we have to do. What I think black men need to do is that they need to be proactive. They need to ask questions. They need to think about. Just don't take one person's word. If that's not satisfying you, your mind has to be always clicking, because your health is who you are and what you are. If you don't do anything about it, then you hurry up your demise. and you got to. When I go to the doctor, I take a book and I write down things that I'm going to ask the doctor before I get there. And if he can't answer me, that it's very critical that I understand what the doctor's talking about. I just can't take it and say, well, I don't understand that, but that's a medical term. And if I don't do anything about it, then now there's no way that there's no way if you take blood tests and then and it doesn't reveal high sugar content in your blood, there's no way that could happen. And if that has happened, you need to question results. What I do is every time I go to the doctor, I have blood work done, I go down the list and say, well, how come this high? What's up with this? You know, and if he can't answer me, there's always someone else that you can go to. Do not take one, even though the man is professional, I understand that. It doesn't take away from who he is. But if it doesn't satisfy my mind, then I need to go higher. And I charge black men to always be cognizant of that fact. You need to take charge of your body so you will be here. There is no excuse for ignorance. Is not an excuse. If you don't know something, it is not an excuse. Then find out. There's too many people depending on you, and if no one's depending on you, you need to think more of yourself than to let things go. Let someone dictate your life. This is the only life we have. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is on stage, everybody. This is the real thing.